Welcome to WP Coffee Talk with your podcast barista, Michelle Frechette. Special thanks to our amazing sponsors, Century Hosting, Expander Digital, and GoWP. WP Coffee Talk is a proud supporter of Big Orange Heart, whose mission is to support and promote positive well-being and mental health within remote working communities. Please consider a donation to Big Orange Heart to continue to support this great mission. Welcome to the next episode of WP Coffee Talk, and I continue my tradition of speaking to people all over the world in the WordPress community. And today I am talking to somebody who's literally, when we say across the pond here, we don't mean the Atlantic Ocean, we mean Lake Ontario. So I am talking to Rachel Di Martino today. And Rachel, there was at one point a fast ferry that went between Rochester, New York and Toronto, Ontario. It lasted about like a year and a half. I never actually got to ride it. I don't know if you did.
I didn't even heard of it.
Oh no. Yeah. So there was this failed fast ferry, and like it was built somewhere across the Atlantic, and it like ferried all the way over here, and then you could take it from Rochester to Toronto and back and forth. The problem was Rochester wasn't built up enough at that point.
Okay. So no one wanted to go.
Rochesterians would ride the ferry over to Toronto, but nobody was coming back except
nobody would come back. That's hilarious. So I can see how that would be an issue.
Yeah, the Torontonians were like, we're good. We got it all here.
Yeah, we're fine. I do love New York, though. I mean, I don't know if I've been to Rochester, but certainly Manhattan and Brooklyn and all that. Those are some of my favorite places to go to. So
yeah, I can drive to Toronto a lot faster than I can drive to New York City. But
oh, really? You're closer than?
Yeah,
okay.
You're about a 3.5 hour drive for me from here, and New York City is closer to 5. So yeah.
Okay, so it's closer to like Buffalo, I guess.
Yes, we're just an hour. I'm just about an hour and 20 minutes east of Buffalo.
Yeah, because Buffalo is pretty easy for us to get to.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, welcome to WP Coffee Talk. It's so good to have you here today.
It's nice to be here.
Thanks. And you and I always tell people how we met. You and I met online. So we just, on Twitter specifically.
Yes.
I don't remember. I was going to go back and look, but today's been a very busy day because it is, I know that people listening to this are going to be listening to this sometime in the spring. Today is actually January 2nd. And so yesterday was the holiday. Last week was the holidays. And so my inbox was a little full today. Let's just say that. And so it got a little behind me, but I don't remember the conversation that we even started talking about over, but whatever it was.
You know, over the holidays, I was clearly very bored from not working very much. So I went on a couple of like Twitter, and I don't want to say like an all-nighter, but like I was on Twitter for like a couple of hours, which is very unusual for me. And I was just like commenting and retweeting and doing all that up a storm. Mm-hmm. And I think I saw your comment or post about something and made some kind of comment. And then I followed you, but then you followed me back. And so then I DM'd you, and then anyway. You know, one of those magic Twitter moments.
I love it. That's awesome. I have started to unfollow some people. So
me too.
I don't unfollow. I mean, I couldn't care less really, you know, except that my news feed, I just want it to be good stuff.
Yeah,
and
totally.
There are people that all they ever post is their Fiverr account or their up something. I can't think of what they up.
Yeah, Upwork.
Upwork. I'm like, that's wrong. Yeah, the Upwork account, it's like, hey, I could build your site. Hey, I could build your site. Hey, I could build your site. I'm like, nope.
Yeah. My problem is that when I first started Twitter several years ago, I was in the nonprofit Christian scene, I guess you could say. So I ended up following a lot of people who were Christians. And then in the era of Trump, it became very scary what some people were saying. So on both sides, right? On both the right and the left, it got really crazy. And so I had to unfollow a whole bunch of people because it was just like this, I don't want to be associated with this at all.
Well, I have a lot of, I actually ran for office here in
did you?
2 years ago. I didn't win, but that's okay because I have so many more exciting things that have happened to me and filled that time since then. But I was being followed by, and I followed so many, and I ran as a Democrat. I followed so many Democratic. And so I'm pretty liberal. And so all these liberals that I was following, and then like in the last few weeks with the impending impeachment trials and everything, I was like not seeing as much WordPress in my Twitter
Yeah,
feed,
yeah.
being a lot.
Right.
So I discovered the mute function and that I could mute the word Trump. And it's a couple of them still
Okay.
sneak through sometimes, like
Yeah, yeah,
retweets and
yeah.
stuff. But generally speaking, I'm not seeing his ugly face and I'm not listening to all the stuff about him anymore, which is awesome.
That's good.
So there you go. So there's your pro tip for the day, folks. If you're
Yeah,
listening, you can mute things. Don't mute
right.
me. Just don't mute me. Don't mute WP Coffee Talk. We're here to support the WordPress
That's
community.
right.
Anyway, so tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do, Rachel.
Well, my name's Rachel, and I'm the owner of Geek Unicorn.
I
And
love that name.
thank you so much. What we do is we help women-driven businesses be seen online and stand out online like a unicorn in a field of horses. That's sort of our tagline.
I love it. I'm actually
Um,
talking. I'm looking for something in my desk while you talk.
We do that through visual branding, web design, and online presence management, including search engine optimization. And we work primarily with WordPress because I found that for most small to medium business owners, WordPress is great. It's the perfect tool for them. There's so many resources out there for them to self-manage it. It's easy to train on self-managing. It's easy to get a designer on your team or a web developer on your team later who would know and be familiar with WordPress. So that's sort of the one we usually stick with.
That's awesome. Now, are you familiar with Wahoo?
No.
Okay, so Wahoo is the unofficial mascot of WordPress.
Okay.
It's a
Maybe
very
I have. Is it the thing with the tail?
yeah.
Okay, I
It's
have seen it.
very
I just didn't know it had a name.
yeah. I don't know if it's. I mean, I'm not really up on cartoony things, but I think it's like
Okay.
in the anime like
Sure.
genre. I'll show you my mug in a minute because I've got a new Wahoo mug. But I wanted to tell you, so there is a Wahoonicorn,
Oh my gosh.
and it's from Scotland. And
Yes.
Claire
Oh, and
Brother.
my background is Scottish, so
Oh, there
there you
you
go.
go. So Claire Brotherton, who is
Yeah.
a WordPress user over in Scotland, she sent me. I'm going to put them up to the camera.
Oh
So
my gosh. I
these
love it.
adorable stickers. She sent me 4 of them, and I'm keeping 2 for myself. I sent one to James Tryon, who runs the wahoo.us website, and then I'm
Yeah.
going to send you the other Wahoonicorn
Yes, thank you.
for your business, Geek Unicorn. So
Awesome. Perfect.
that's
You can see in
fantastic.
the background, I've got all these like we've got 2 shelves dedicated to all my unicorn swag.
That's awesome. I love it. That's fantastic. So tell us about your mug or your, as we said, you said you don't have a mug. So tell us about your drinking vessel and anything
Yes.
special about it. What are you drinking?
This is my 32-ounce chilled tumbler, I guess. I don't know. My husband actually bought it for me because I used to be addicted to Starbucks refreshers,
Mm-hmm.
Trenta size. So you needed like a 32-ounce vessel for it.
Can you even order those anymore? Can you order a Trenta size anymore?
You can here. You
Oh,
can
okay.
here. But actually, one thing is in the States, you guys still have the Cool Lime refresher. And we don't have that here. And so
Okay.
when they got rid of the Cool Lime refresher, I was very sad. And but what I found was a drink called mate. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's like a loose leaf herb, and it's high in caffeine, high in antioxidants. And
Oh,
so I make that every night and I chill it in the fridge. And in the morning, I fill up my tumbler with it with a little bit of juice for, some sweetness and flavor. And that's what's in my mug.
fantastic. Well, I have my brand new, it just arrived in the mail. This is my WP and Up mug.
Oh, nice.
And this is the WP and Up
Yeah, so
Wahoo.
cute. Oh,
Isn't he cute? And if you don't know, WP and Up is a nonprofit organization, and they are headquartered over in London, not London, Ontario, London,
right.
England, over in the UK. And they are committed to WordPress mental health, business health, physical health, and skills health. So they have 4
Oh,
hubs,
that's
and
awesome.
everything they do is for the WordPress community and our benefit and to our health. So,
Oh, I
so
love that.
it was exciting. I do a little volunteering with them. I do a lot of promotion for them, and yeah, so I had to order the mug as soon as they
That's
came out.
great. I love
And it
it.
holds a lot. So I'm drinking. It is after 5 o'clock, so I'm drinking my. I know I've caffeined up today. This is turmeric chai. So
Ooh.
yeah, so it's got a lot of health properties as well, and it's
Yeah,
flavored
yeah.
with,
Turmeric's great for you.
yeah, it's flavored with some honey. It's already in the tea bag, so that's what I'm drinking today.
Oh,
So,
that's
and
great.
I do have a little bit of a cold, so if I start to sneeze, I apologize in advance.
It's that time of year.
It really is. So tell us, how did you get started with WordPress?
Well, I don't know the exact moment I was introduced to WordPress specifically, but I've been building websites since I was a teenager, back in the GeoCity days, when internet just came out for consumers, basically, so it's like 1995 or 96 or something like that. And yeah, so I was building websites, HTML, CSS, like typing them out. But I think I started using WordPress. I know I started using it professionally about 10 years ago, because when I got a job, and part of my job was web design and graphic design and stuff like that, they already had a WordPress website. So that's when I got rolled up my sleeves and started to get really familiar with it.
Yeah. So WordPress is going on 16 years old this year. So,
Ah, so
so
it
you
wouldn't
were,
have even been around when I started then.
no, not when you started, but even at 10 years ago, that's still pretty early adoption. So that's pretty cool.
Woo woo! I had no
Right? I
idea.
mean, props.
That's great.
High five to you. um, when you look at websites, and sometimes it's even looking at our own websites that we built, back
Sure.
in the day.
Right.
What do you what do you think is something that we don't focus enough attention on as developers and designers that would make our sites better for the end user?
Well, I think as a developer and as a designer, there's a responsibility to help guide the client into having a website that's really going to end up being a marketing tool for them. So it's going to lead people into their funnel, it's going to lead people to a sale, or it's going to be informational, so that they can be better informed to make a sale or anything like that. So I think some of the problems that I see would be not educating the client on that, and then making sure that the client has a call to action, making sure that their content aligns with the audience that they want to capture and things like that. So I think that's where some of the mistakes come in.
That makes sense. Even a brochure site has to have some kind of call to action. Otherwise, why is
Yeah.
it there, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
Yeah,
makes
and I
sense.
mean, if you're a blogger or something, and really you don't really necessarily have a call to action, you just want people clicking and reloading the page so you can serve more ads. Well, then what is the designer or the developer, are you contributing to that to make sure that
Mhm.
people are clicking through, people are scrolling through, those ads
Right.
are getting delivered?
So in that case, it might not be a call to action as much as it's the desired action.
The desired action, yes. When
Yeah,
people come to your website, what do you want from them?
exactly. Yeah, no, that makes
Hmm.
perfect sense. Absolutely. What's something that you wish that you knew when you started or earlier in your WordPress journey that you've learned since that might have made life a little easier?
I wish I knew a little bit more about security.
Mm.
I mean, WordPress, as you know, has like such a high percentage of break-ins. So I wish I knew a little bit more about how to lock that down, and all the things that go into it. I certainly wish I knew more about things like the back end stuff, like your DNS and STMPs or whatever the hell they are. And why is WordPress so bad at sending emails? Like, wow, like all that crap.
And what are all those acronyms?
Yeah, right. Yeah, so I wish I knew a little bit more about that. But yeah.
It's funny you say that because in our meetup here in Rochester, at the beginning of every year, I'll say, so what do people want to learn about this year? I'll see if I can line up some speakers, etc. And they say these things together all the time. I want to learn about cPanel and FTP. I'm like, I don't
Yeah,
know why people think that those things are necessarily the same thing, because they're not.
right. They're not, no.
But okay, we can we
Yeah.
can talk about those. And
Yeah, yeah.
a lot of hosts are actually moving away from cPanels. So
I know, and I was recently working with a client who didn't use a cPanel, and I was like, I don't know.
I'm
Like,
lost.
I'm a dinosaur. I use cPanel. Like, I don't know what this is.
I finally mastered cPanel, and now it's nowhere to be found.
Now it's irrelevant. welcome to the internet.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the things that change so quickly. Absolutely.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. Now, the next question I usually ask somebody is about their experiences with WordCamps and meetups. And you're not the first
Mhm.
person that I've talked to who hasn't had the opportunity to go to one yet,
No.
which I'm going to encourage you to maybe come down to WordCamp
Yeah.
Rochester this year and that kind of thing. I'd love to see you get involved. So I'm going to ask you. I'm going to pivot the question a little bit,
Okay.
and I'm going to ask you, what's something that you find inspirational about the WordPress community itself? So
Um,
you do a lot of online, right? So you're interacting a lot with people online.
yeah, pretty much. I'm doing a lot of online stuff. But what I really love about the community is that the collaboration, like WordPress is open source, as you know, so it takes a village. It takes a village to maintain it, to improve it, to optimize it, to keep it relevant. And what I've seen from the community is that real collaborative spirit of, if something's not working, they will flag and let the developer know so that the developer can improve it and fix it, if we're talking about like a plugin or something like that. So I really love that. That's what I
Yeah.
love about it. Yeah.
Me too. And I have made so many friends in WordPress because of the openness of
Yeah.
I always say, and this is my pinned tweet on my own personal Twitter account, is it's not just open source software, it's open source community, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's so true. And I've definitely seen people who are further advanced be really generous with their knowledge and their time with people who are
Mm-hmm.
just starting out, and not necessarily being critical, but helping to guide what's the right path around this kind of certain things. You see that all the time on the forums.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
pretty
it's great.
cool. It is great. And you see it in Twitter and you see it on Facebook
Yeah.
and even a Reddit. I don't know if you're a Reddit user. Like, so if I'm having a sleepless night or a few hours where I just kind of want to, veg out, I will scroll through Twitter for a while, but then I'll also scroll through Reddit.
Yeah,
And Reddit's got some really hilarious things, and I probably subscribe to
totally.
way too many subreddits.
Right.
But I love the WordPress subreddits because there's a lot of great conversation and a lot of people helping people anonymously right there too. So that's kind of a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So tell us about your business. So what do you do in your business exactly? I know obviously there's WordPress involved with it. And
Yeah.
how do you, as a small business owner, how do you acquire clients? Because people, I talk to people who are small business owners all the time, and they're like, where do I go to find people who need a
Yeah.
website? So
Right.
give us a little bit about what you do.
So we do online presence strategy for business owners and we build websites and visual brands. So that just means that whatever level the business is at when they come to us with their online presence, we will assess it, and then we can build on wherever they're kind of lacking. So if they come to us and they're lacking a visual identity, so maybe they have a website or maybe they don't have a website, whatever, but they don't even have a logo. They don't even have a name, or their colors are all over the place and they don't have any fonts. Or we address that first. Like, let's handle the branding. Let's figure out what this is and what this looks like. Let's say they have that, where they're satisfied with that. Then it's like, okay, well, let's look at your website. What's happening here? I work with a lot of people who made a website themselves, and then they're now a couple of years into business. Things are picking up, and or they're looking to get more into it, and so now they're getting serious about, oh crap, my website looks like garbage. Maybe I should get some help. Or they had it designed by their cousin's sister's brother's dog for like $200, and they realize it's not working, it's falling apart. So we do that, and then if they've got their visual branding, they've got their website, then we look at the online presence strategy, which is usually search engine optimization, and then talking about how to increase their traffic, how to build their backlinks and things like that. So those are kind of like the three levels that we deal with most of our clients.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then what was your other? How do I find clients, right?
Yeah.
So I find clients by finding groups where my target audience lives and becoming a part of it, and just joining that community and being there and being of help and being of service, running workshops, doing speaking events, and then just being known as the person who does whatever. And then I also have a really memorable name. So I know that sounds cheesy, but it helps if people are like, oh my gosh, yes, geek unicorn. That's amazing.
When I had my own freelance agency, before I was working for Give, I okay, I did one of those things where I named my business way too like ridiculously fast, and it was
Okay.
just marketed by Michelle, like
Right.
whatever, right? I designed a logo that got a lot of attention, but I made I'm like, well, I'm the only person who works here. I'm the CEO, but I'm also the one who plunges the toilet, right? So I'm like
Sure.
everything in between. So I decided to give myself a title that was like, I could have been stuffy and put CEO. That's not my personality. And you know, for those people who want to put CEO, I don't mean that you're stuffy. I felt stuffy with it. But
Yeah.
what I put on mine was marketing diva,
Okay.
because that was the conversation opener for me. I'm like,
Yeah,
the title.
totally. Right. And then people go, oh, marketing diva. I love that, you know?
Yeah.
So, and it becomes memorable and people
Mm-hmm.
remember that. So yeah. So having a memorable business name and then just being really, really active within communities where your clients live. And then I think another really helpful thing for getting clients is to be really super clear about what you do, and being upfront about your prices and what you're delivering. Because that really helps people to buy from you when they really quickly can understand what it is that you're giving them and how much it's going to cost.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with that. And being good with your billing. So I was
Oh yeah.
never good with billing. I hated asking people for money, but on the other hand, I needed
Mm,
to pay my bills too, right? So
right.
I never developed the right way to do like accounting for my business. So that's, I don't
Yeah.
think I could be the best web designer in the world, which I wasn't the best, but I'm just saying I could have been the best web designer in the world and still sucked at business because I wasn't good at managing that part of it. So I think that it takes a special person to be able to look at all those facets of a business and be able to at least be competent at all of them, if not excel in all of those
Yeah,
areas.
I was really lucky that before I started doing web design, I was in sales, so retail. So I got training in how to do sales, how to do customer service. I was not shy about sending an invoice and sending reminders. I've definitely said to clients like, no, we're stopping work because you haven't paid your bill, and then they scramble to pay. So yeah, that has never been my problem, which makes me feel very lucky and grateful.
Yeah, no, that's
That
great.
can be an issue.
For sure. So when you say that you put yourself in areas that your customers are you talking about like physical groups, online groups, both?
Both, yeah, especially online groups that have a physical aspect.
Okay.
That's sort of where the magic kind of happens, because people get to know you in the group, and then when you go to a networking event, they can put a body to
Hmm.
the profile avatar and the comments. So yeah.
I,
So it's a
I
good combo.
I used to do that too. I used to love like chambers of commerce meetings,
Yeah.
and I belonged to a couple different networking groups and those kinds of things that were always fun. Because
Yeah.
you see
Yeah.
people in person and online.
Yeah, and then when your client base grows, you start getting referrals, and they start referring you even if they haven't worked with you. If you've been in this group and they kind of know of you and have seen some of the things you've done, then they make a recommendation. So it's,
Hmm.
you get into the groups and you meet people, and then you get referrals as
Yeah.
well. And yeah, so it's great.
So I didn't prep you with this question for sure because it just popped into my head. So
Okay.
feel free to say I have no clue. But I recently read that elevator pitches or elevator speeches are like becoming a thing of the past. And I don't know that I agree with that, but I'm wondering what your take on that is, since I'm not really in that, area as much anymore. So what do you think?
I think it's something that can be really easily forgettable. I think that your elevator pitch is not where you're going to make a connection with somebody. So I can see how it's obsolete in the sense that it just becomes more noise, and it doesn't really drive home into that person's subconscious, so that when they see you again, they go, oh, I remember that person and what it is that they do and how they can help me. So I don't know what the solution is, like what does work. I
Hmm.
mean, other than, I think, just building relationships with people. I know that's so cheesy and everybody says
It
that,
isn't, but it's true, right?
but
It's true.
yeah, because people work with people they know, like, and trust, right?
Hmm.
So
Yep.
your
And
elevator pitch
yep.
is not getting you closer to know, like, and trust.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I was just curious about that.
Yeah.
Um, so I want to move into my rapid fire questions.
Oh,
And
okay.
as I always say, I'll ask them rapidly. You take as much time as you need to answer them.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. What are 2 or 3 must-have plugins that you recommend when somebody's building their own website?
I recommend a security plugin like WordFence or Scary. I mean, they do two different things, as you know,
Hmm.
and we won't get into that. But pick one and do it. um, I usually install a Kismet, because why not? Clean up spam comments and then help them to build their
Yeah,
database.
for
Beautiful.
sure, for sure.
And then I always recommend something that's going to get Google Analytics onto your website. So however you want to do that, whether you want to do Monster Insights or whether you just want to do something that inserts into your header or whatever, get Google Analytics on there. Those are my
Yeah,
3.
I like it. Those make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
At any point in your journey, your business journey or your WordPress journey, have you had a mentor, whether it was an official mentorship or kind of just somebody took you under their wing or somebody that you kind of looked up to and emulated? And who was it?
There was no one person. For me, my mentor was the forums. It was search. It was asking questions into the search and then scrolling through the answers to dig out what it was that I needed, what it was I was looking for. So I guess
Hmm.
the entire community was my mentor in some sense because I learned from everybody.
So the question that I usually ask next, which is also kind of dependent on knowing a lot of people, is, who's somebody you look up to in the community? And my guess for you is it's kind of that community as opposed to a
Yes,
single person as well.
that's right. Yeah. It really is. It's just going to the community as a whole, as a
Hmm.
colony, versus any one person. But certainly, like I see things that people do, and I like it, and I follow that, and then I look to see what else they're putting out there, and
Yeah.
especially with their tutorials and things like that for some ways to
Yeah.
improve design and stuff like that.
Are you, I'm not going to ask you to name them, but are you like a blog follower? There's some blogs that you kind of keep in touch with to see what's like kind of the cutting edges and stuff like that? Or kind of like
Yeah,
if it
but
shows up in Twitter and it looks interesting, I'll read it.
yeah, if it shows up in Twitter and looks interesting, I'll read it. I also like to bookmark sites and then
Mhm.
never visit them again. So yeah, but certainly some people will come up over and over again and you realize, oh, I kind of am following this person because, I seem
Yeah.
to be clicking on their stuff a lot.
I do that with Trello cards. I'm like, oh, I'll just make this list of things I should do. And somehow in my head, making the list means it got done. And then
Right,
I'll go
right,
back and look at Trello later. I'm like, oh man, I
right.
forgot to
Oops.
do those things.
Yeah.
It's a good thing that's just my personal stuff because
Yeah.
I couldn't let somebody down. Let
Yeah.
anybody down. What's something you'd like to learn in WordPress, but you haven't tackled yet?
You know what? I have, in all of my years of WordPress, I have never built a theme from scratch.
Mhm.
I have a how-to book on my shelf. Oh, you can't see it in the video, but it's right up there of
Yeah.
how to do it. But I've never actually sat down and done it. I mean, obviously I've done modifications and I've, blah, 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 but I've never actually you know, and
Yeah,
made a WordPress website from scratch.
me either.
Okay.
There's so there's so many great themes out there. I figure if somebody else is willing to do the work for me, I'll let them.
Well, part of my hesitation is like, I don't want to update this every time that there's a new
Hmm.
version of WordPress. Like, I
Yeah.
don't, ugh.
See, it's interesting to learn how to do those things, but if you
Mm,
don't have the passion to do that on a regular basis,
yeah.
then it's on that Trello card that I don't revisit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's also the time. I mean, certainly there are
Yeah.
better things I could be doing with my time. I
Yeah.
don't think theme developers make, gazillions of dollars. So I don't know if it's even worth getting into that. I
Right.
don't know. Maybe some
Yeah.
people listening will be like, yes, it is worth it, but I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong.
If you want to correct her, we're gonna give out her Twitter at the end. You can feel free to
Yes, and feel free to
put her on
feel,
blast.
feel free to blast me.
But I'm guessing that all those people in like ThemeForest are not like just sitting at home counting their millions. I agree.
That's what I mean. Yes, right. If you sell 100 themes for $30 a pop, like you're not, you know.
You might be able to afford Christmas. Yeah.
Right.
What's the biggest WordPress mistake that you've ever made, and what did you learn from it?
I mean, I've made some mistakes. I once took down an entire like college type learning website by clicking like check marking some box. This was not WordPress, but that was, I would say, the biggest mistake I've ever made. And that site was down for like a good 2 months before it was really fixed. This was a long time ago. I do not make mistakes like this anymore, just so if anybody's like listening and like, I will never work with her. This was a long time ago. But one of my most recent mistakes on WordPress was I was working with a client and I did not set up a child theme. And I know for everybody, listening, they're all gasping right now. How could you do that? But it was just supposed to be a simple, basic website. So, and at one point during the development before launch, they decided that they wanted to make some customizations to one of the post types. And so obviously I go into the PHP and I make my customizations. And then in my head, I'm thinking, well, we'll just launch the site and then I'll switch it over to a child theme afterwards, like get this out the door, blah, blah, blah. And a month later, cut to, I still had not done that, forgot, updated their theme and WordPress and all the plugins, and then lost my customizations. And I was like, ah, so I had to spend an extra half an hour of my time fixing that.
Yeah, the worst part about that is it's not billable time. That's the really
that's why it was such a kick in the pants. I was like,
Yep.
shoot, that's 100% my bad that I have to fix out of pocket. But it wasn't like a whole day to fix or anything. It was like,
that's good. Yeah. So when it first happens, you're like,
yeah.
What's your proudest WordPress moment?
I have a lot. I mean, my proudest moment is always when I finish a site and I'm like, I really like this, and I'm constantly going back to it or showing it to people. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I show a website to like people in my family, like my husband, and he'll go, wow, it looks really professional. And I say, I am a professional, So
like, what do you think I do at my desk?
Yeah, it's my job. I'm not swindling people. Like, I'm actually doing a good job.
That's funny.
So I think my proudest moment is being proud, feeling like you did a good job and looking at it and going, this is pretty, I like this. I would copy it. Like I would look at this and go, oh, I wish I built that, and then go, oh, I did build it. Yay.
I love it. That's great.
Yeah.
If you weren't working in web technologies, marketing, all of that, what's another career that you might like to attempt?
I think I would do anything creative. I think I'm an artist, like a little bit of a half artist, half scientist at heart. So like photography, interior design, furniture making, I don't know, any of that fun stuff. I would just go wild with all of it.
That's awesome. I love that kind of stuff too. And I try to take classes sometimes just to see if I can be creative in certain things. And I thought, how hard can watercolor be? So I took a watercolor class. Watercolor is hard.
Yeah.
And I really sucked at it. I made one like decent painting in that like 6 weeks, and it wasn't framed or anything, but I brought it to my mom.
Yeah.
Like, Mom, look, this is like the only decent thing I painted, and I want to give it to you. And what she did with it? She put it on the fridge.
Oh, like you were 6.
Yeah, little magnets in the corner.
I didn't want to paint at paint night. This was my paint night painting.
Oh, I love paint nights.
Yeah, so this was fun. Yeah.
Oh, that's really nice. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I'd be a painter, but definitely, anything artistic. Or I would be a mad scientist. That was the other thing I wanted to be when I was a kid, was a scientist. And actually I took environmental technologies in school. So I was on that path, but
that's really cool. So speaking of mad scientists, I heard a joke the other day that said that Dr. Frankenstein was the ultimate bodybuilder.
Yeah, that's
exactly. Okay. Yeah, moving right along. What's something on your bucket list?
I really want to see a moose. I know that sounds like so weird. I live close enough to, if you're in Canada, we have Algonquin Park, which there's the moose go through in the spring. But I have never seen and then of course you can go further north and have a better chance of seeing a moose. But I really want to see a moose. And every time I'm up north, I'm like driving and on the lookout for a moose somewhere, and I've yet to see one.
I've only ever seen them on video.
Yeah.
But 3 years ago, I finally saw my first bear in the wild.
Oh, was it like a black bear, brown bear, grizzly bear?
It was a black bear up in the Adirondacks.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it just ran. We were driving in a car, and it just ran across the road like 100 yards in front of us. And I was like, "Oh, that wasn't a dog.
Yeah.
That was a bear. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness!" It kind of was
That's
exciting. Stay in the car, everybody. We're driving 55 miles an hour. Nobody was getting out of the car.
Yeah. Lock the doors.
Stay in the car. Yeah. Show us or tell us about one of your hidden talents.
Like for website or just in general?
In general.
Oh my gosh.
I've had people
talent
play
in
instruments. I had somebody dance for me, but most people just tell us what they do.
Oh, I don't know what my in general talent is. I have no idea. I guess I don't play an instrument. Let's go through the things I don't do. I don't play an instrument. I don't do any sports.
Do you sing?
No. I kind of wish I did, but I don't. I don't sing. I like acting. I love theater and things like that, but I wouldn't say I'm particularly talented at it. I don't know. Now I'm going to be thinking about this all night. I'll come up with something tomorrow, and I will tweet my talent out.
So mine's not so much hidden anymore because a lot of people in WordPress know that I do this, but I am a singer. And
my gosh. Okay, awesome.
I studied voice in college. So it's
kind
of fun. But
that's great.
I don't do it like I don't make money at it. It's just sing in church sometimes.
It's nice to bust out at happy birthday and whatnot.
Yeah, or in the car when I just need to let off some steam, I just throw some like Broadway on and just belt it out. I think the people in other cars probably think I'm crazy, but I don't care.
That's always the best when you're driving and you catch somebody singing and you're like, oh yes, that's awesome, because they're really into it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Sometimes I actually conduct, anyway.
Oh, I just thought of my talent. Okay.
Oh, tell us.
Plating food.
Ooh.
So I love
like Instagram pictures.
Yes. So I have 2 Instagrams. I have one for my business and one for just my food photography, which we can share in the links. But yeah. So follow me on Instagram to see my beautifully plated homemade food.
What do you like, a flat lay image or do you
flat lay?
Flat lay, okay.
100% flat lay. Yeah.
I've been trying to get better at that too. I've been making a lot of food with my Instant Pot because I just absolutely love how easy it is. Yeah. And then it's like, look, I made butter chicken. Look, I made beef stew, and trying to do like the flat lay and stuff. So but with my iPhone because I'm too lazy to go get up, the real camera when I'm eating.
Oh yeah, no. I use my Pixel camera, and then I, Snapseed photo app editor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it's just fun, and I think that really ties in again with just that creativity, art, kind of designing, rearranging things.
It makes a lot of fun. And when you take the napkin or whatever and you wipe the edge of the bowl, don't you feel like Gordon Ramsay?
Yeah. Right.
I'm a chef. I know how to clean the plate.
I've even gotten those like the tubes that you put the sauce in, so you can like.
Oh, that's awesome.
Designs. I've done the sauce and like spread it out to
Oh, that's very impressive. Yeah, no, I haven't got that far. Everything's.
Oh yeah, see all that stuff I love to do.
Oh, that's fun. So tell us, how do we find you on Twitter? What's your website? Give us some of your details.
Well, you can find me at geekunicorn.com. And all my social channels are there, but I'm on Twitter at geekunicornweb is my handle on Twitter. So you can find me there.
Fantastic. Well, any last words for our audience before we sign off for the evening?
Well, thank you so much for having me and for listening. And I hope you got something out of it.
It's been a lot of fun. I love laughing with people and having fun and exploring all the different people and all the different personalities that there are in the WordPress community, because Lord knows we're
Totally.
all different. Yeah.
That's right. That's totally right.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Rachel, for being here with me this evening, and look forward to putting your episode out into the universe.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye, everybody. We'll see you on the next episode of WP Coffee Talk.